Lumos.
Set the microphone on fire.
I want one. Why do you get 2 candles?
Here you go, sweetie. Here's some light and warmth.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to Shell Cottage Radio. I'm your host, Ezra, a.k.a. Bill, also known as your friendly tech wizard, your former captain of the Hufflepuff Quidditch team, the Flannel Wizard, yours truly, me. Please welcome your lovely design witch, the fascination of 4th year, and my wonderful co-host and yours, Lottie, a.k.a. Fleur.
Hello! Schön, dass ihr da seid. Willkommen zurück to our little cottage on the outskirts of Tinworth. Come on in! This is the 14th episode of Shell Cottage Radio, in which we will discuss Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Chapter 6, The Journey from Platform 9 3/4. Before we fire up today's chapter discussion, we will do a little cottage catch-up session. Cottage catch-up session. Okay.
That's actually really cool. We've never said that before.
We should name that section our cottage
catch-up.
session.
Because it's like
Cottage catch-up.
we're catching up, but
Yeah.
it also sounds like ketchup, which we like from time to time. Ketchup's pretty good.
Okay, let's do that. Cottage
Wow.
catch-up.
Holy.
We're also going to quiz Bill in trivia and expand our knowledge about magical creatures.
Let's go.
Leading into the ketchup. Sweetie, do you like ketchup?
I do. I actually do like ketchup. I don't think we've had any in a while. It's got a lot of sugar in it, so I've been trying to.
Yeah, I think we had some yesterday.
Yeah, we did. There's ketchup on the hot dog. That's true. Gosh, and so did like my little niece Rachel and my nephew Benny.
They were
Boy,
so cute.
let's just say there was more ketchup on that hot dog than there was hot dog.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was crazy. They just wanted to.
Especially for Rachel.
Yeah, I actually was trying to cover for her, and I was like, you know what, just eat the hot dog, and then I'll toss the bun, you know. And so
Yeah.
she eats the hot dog, and like we're behind everybody, and she's like, hold on, let me just.
Oh, that's
like, let
why
me
she
just-
was so quick.
Yeah, she's like, let me just lick the bun. I was like, what?
She doesn't like the bread.
Ketchup. She just wanted all that ketchup. I was like, this is so gross. Oh my
That's
gosh.
funny.
Kids,
No, I had no
just
idea.
funny. That's funny, yeah.
That's
So,
cute.
yeah, anyways, friends, we went to the fair yesterday. We
Mm-hmm.
went to the Knox County Fair, which was wild. They were setting up the monster trucks, and what did we have? We had a funnel cake. We had a little funnel cake. We had some
So good.
old-fashioned ice cream, which was good.
Yep.
And
Saw some horsies.
yeah, we get to see some of the animals and stuff like that. Walk around. Saw my sister and her husband there with their kids, and it was cool. It was a cool little walk around time, and so many people, so
Yeah.
many kids running around.
Oh, yeah.
It's-
High school kids meeting up.
Yeah, it's wild.
It was cool.
Yeah, I had some flashbacks. It was crazy. It was crazy. So, but besides that, I mean, we're here in the cottage, and we've got some syrup in the windowsill. We've got some cold brew in our cream. I like to say, because
Yeah.
it's got a lot of cream in there. A little bit of cold brew, and we've got our strawberries, and we've got our one apple left. I keep looking at it, thinking,
Yeah.
who's gonna
We're going to fight over the apple.
eat it? You like the strawberries, though, you know?
I do. You can
So-
have the apple.
Oh, thanks. So I'm good. I'm doing great. We are pumped. We have a couple weeks left of summer vacation, and then we're going to be diving back into the school year and everything too, which is going to be awesome. I want to say going into all of that, we will be trying to get back on our recording like Friday or
Right.
Saturday, you know, just depending if we have a guest or whatever. We try to do it on Friday night when we come back home from school, and then we'll have the episodes coming out on Wednesdays, you know?
Yes.
So it's exciting. Oh, and also some updates for you. I know we don't really do it's just so much easier to, you know, down the line, if there's more interest for us to do a video version, we could do it. But for right now, we are just kind of doing our audio version. But over on our YouTube page, Harry Potter Hangout, by the way, we're just making little shorts. Making these little short videos that I enjoy making. They're a lot of fun. If you guys want to check them out, go check them out. If you have the ideas or thoughts, we can just crank them out. They're like 30 seconds to a minute or whatever.
It's so cool.
It's
And
cool. Yeah.
You
'cause-
got so good at making them.
Yeah, I like them. I like making them because I think too, as like a teacher, I like making I don't know, like short little facts and little things for kids, and stuff that would be interesting. And then I don't know, I also make it like it's appropriate for kids, but it's also like interesting if you're an adult who read the series years ago and you're like, I don't remember that at all. You know? So it kind of does both, which is good. I like doing it for Star Wars as well. So that's where it really started. And then I was like, you know what? We could probably do these in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So it was just cool. And you guys should check it out. If you have ideas, thoughts, let us know. I actually learned a lot doing those.
Yeah. And it's
You
cool
know?
because we are doing the reread and we, look into stuff that you normally don't really look into when you just read it and you're like, oh, I don't know. Or I forgot that. Or I wonder who is Molly Weasley's brother. Stuff like that.
Stuff like that. And this is going to seem, maybe we'll do it at the end, but we have several ideas that would be kind of cool to actually find a segment on the show to talk about some of the things, because we raised a couple interesting questions already about Horcruxes and about the intents of Voldemort and other things that are unexplained still that you don't really have a direct answer to. Like Pottermore has gone out there and they've tried to address some of the, not plot holes, but just things that were like, oh, how did that make sense or whatever. So it'd be kind of cool to find a section in our show very quickly to do that. We'll have to think about that in the weeks to come, because I'm just thinking about the invisibility cloak, and the Horcrux situation. I'd love to talk with you folks about that. So
maybe we throw that on Patreon.
Yeah, we could do that. We could do something extra.
Just some, so the episode length doesn't go up to like 3 hours.
Yeah, sure about that. Sometimes it gets a little long.
It's more my fault.
Sorry
probably,
about that. No, it's fine. It's honestly fine.
I love talking about
You
it.
love it. I know. I know. So, no. But yeah, maybe we could do that because they're kind of standalone little topics that would be fun for just additional content. And hey, shout out to all of our patrons. Thank you guys for supporting us over there on Patreon, Apple Premium, where all the extra stuff is, all the extra goodies and things. We greatly appreciate it, and we love you guys, So there you go. I'm doing wonderful, sweetie. How are you?
I'm almost exploding over here with excitement because we watched the full footage trailer. I don't know what you would call it because it's not like a 3-minute trailer of the game. They show you like 20 or 30 minutes of footage, actual game footage of Hogwarts Legacy. And I know we started talking about it a little bit in our news section, but I was excited for it. But after watching this long video, I want to play it right now.
Yeah.
And I want to play it like all day long because I keep mentioning I loved the very first game, PC game. That was my absolute favorite game. I could, as a kid, just really immerse myself through the game into the world of Harry Potter and run around and discover the castle, the grounds, and do some magic and live the story of Harry.
Right.
And now they're bringing out a game where you can fully customize your character. You can be in your own house. You run around and you can not only explore Hogwarts and the grounds, but also Hogsmeade and the surroundings. And it looks so cool. It looks like endless like gameplay footage that you can just explore for years. Probably not years, but I mean, if you only play like 20 minutes a day, you probably have years to play.
Oh yeah, no, it looks like it's massive.
It is.
That's what they've built, like this world where you can go in and find different things, different like clues, and probably replay stuff, find hidden quests and side quests and all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
I mean, it's absolutely massive.
It looks amazing, and you will probably see some sort of, I don't know if we're gonna stream or if we just upload some videos about it, how we play on our YouTube. That's definitely gonna be a thing. So, and second thing, it's also about a game. I just recently tried to find every Harry Potter game that's out there because, I love it. Yeah. And I think in preparation of Hogwarts Legacy, I might go and play Order of the Phoenix because that might be something our modern computers can do. Yeah. So, but also, it's the same. So Portkey Games is the company that does Hogwarts Legacy, and they also did Hogwarts Mystery. Yeah. So I know we're 100 years late on that, but I keep reading on the wiki about Hogwarts Mystery. Yeah. And it is canon. It is a prequel to the Harry Potter books, to the adventures of Harry Potter, and it's after Fantastic Beasts events. So we see people like Bill Weasley and Charlie Weasley, who are younger than your character, who are at Hogwarts. And you just play, your own character, and it's considered canon. Like the stuff that happens there, that's why it keeps coming up on the wiki page, because we learn more about the world there. And I started playing it. It's not like a game where you really have to be super skilled with anything.
Yeah.
It just kind of just walks you through the game, and you make some little decisions here and there, which can alternate the game just a little bit here and there. But basically, I want to play it because I want to follow the story and know more about it, honestly. So very excited to do that.
There's tons of little like hidden, like you said, tidbits of information and other characters that you're like, wait, they're the actual named characters and everything. So that umbrella, the Portkey games or whatever, they're making sure these things line up and that there's continuity, and it's not just somebody out there who just decided to make up some crazy storyline that's not necessarily gonna fit in their universe of games or whatever. That's how it was, with Star Wars games. You had certain people who could make them, and then certain stories would get told to be integrated into other books and comics and stuff like that. You have to have some sort of universe or like world that you're working inside of. So that's actually pretty neat, and it looks cool. Yeah, like you said, you just kind of tap around and you walk through it, and I think it's really cool. So that's a good way, I guess, to kind of get warmed up and get ready for what's going to be Hogwarts Legacy, because it just looks so good. It's so much fun. Let me give folks an example here real quick. So the main professor in that, what's intriguing, we did a couple shorts on this, is Professor Elazar Fig. Professor Fig. And so you're like, now, they spell it right now, I guess. No one knows. I guess it's F-I-G, right? So or, I don't know if it's double G. It's not. But anyways, it doesn't matter. We have Mrs. Fig. And it's just sort of like Dumbledore could make a cameo in that, because he's, again, 9 years old at the time of that game, and 2 years later he'll be going to Hogwarts. So that student, that if they make two more whatever, like a first-year Dumbledore could be walking in with a seventh-year main character. He's in his fifth year, then his sixth and his seventh, he would be there when Dumbledore shows up as a first year. Like, it's just stuff like that is really cool. And then Professor Fig is still there, and you imagine Dumbledore probably had Professor Fig, like as a teacher.
Yes.
And then he later on is very fond of the Fig family. So
that could be his contact, Mrs. Fig. Yeah.
Who's Mr. Fig? Is that because it does. I don't know that Mrs. Fig is, again, related to or married to this current professor we see. He seems rather old, but this could be like his son's wife or something, you know what I mean, or something like that. So anyways, I just think it's really cool. Like, stuff like that is really interesting. We also were digging into the character, for example, what is her name? Poppy Sweeting.
Yeah.
And we were like, is Poppy Sweeting, again, there's a lot of people who have the name Poppy or whatever.
Is
it's
a common name.
But the idea was, I don't know, there's a Poppy we already know.
Yeah.
Right? Madame Pomfrey.
Yes.
So Poppy Pomfrey.
Yeah.
And we were like, I don't know. It's just fun. Does she grow into to be Madame Pomfrey?
Because her age is unknown.
Her age is unknown and everything. So it just is interesting to I guess kind of think about. Although it would make like Madame Pomfrey like super old if that were the case. But that's okay. It's just fun to kind of speculate and think about these things. So we thought we understood McGonagall's, date of birth and timeline and everything. And then Fantastic Beasts said, no, we're going to like change what we know a little bit, and we're going to make some adjustments. That's fine. So yeah, it's just cool. I think that game has a lot of potential, and it's going to be fun for Potter fans, and it's going to add some more lore and just some interesting things. I think too, just so we're clear, I think it has something to do like this extra power that kid has. You're the main character, right? So he or she is going to have some extra power. I think it has something to do with, just a lot of things. I think there's going to be a conversation about squibs and other things. Yeah,
I mean, that would be so interesting with Professor Fig in there. And,
what you learn about them. Like, is that magic too dangerous? Do they suppress it? Does something happen? Is there some secret thing? I don't know. I don't know. It's just really interesting. You've got Rookwood in there, Victor Rookwood. So just to get people fired up a little bit, I mean, if you weren't already, like, there's interesting characters and there's cool stuff. And again, just to remind folks, there's a whole team of people that like work on these games and stuff. Like they showed their behind the scenes,
and they're fans.
They're
fans.
They're
themselves.
sorted in the house. Like I thought that was really good, a good PR move for them to go out and kind of put other faces to the project and really talk about who is behind all of this and everything, because they are diehards who have been working on it for years. You know, poured their hearts and I don't know, just everything into this. So I'm excited for it.
Highly encourage watching that trailer / game footage. That came out.
Let's go.
Okay. All right. This is such exciting news. But I'm also excited to quiz you a little bit. Test your knowledge.
Let's go.
Okay, I got to admit, those two are probably pretty easy for you. That's why I'm going to have a third question that you don't see in the...
Okay.
Yeah, because we literally just listened to that part, so you can probably answer it pretty easily. So first question, here we go. What did Professor Quirrell teach before he started teaching Defense Against the Dark Arts?
And I know this because I think I heard you when you were looking it up or whatever earlier. Not the question, but you days ago were like, what?
Yeah.
Muggle studies.
Yeah.
Right?
I think a lot of us didn't know that he even... Because I got stuck on the chapter when Hagrid said something about Quirrell's students and that he changed. And I'm like, isn't he like... DADA is cursed, so how can he be already a teacher? It sounds like he's already at Hogwarts and stuff.
Right.
And I found out he was Muggle studies, which is super interesting because, like Voldemort, you know, hates Muggle-borns and... Right. All that stuff. And he's a half-blood, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
So he once was, he was the Muggle studies teacher, and then he gets upgraded, I guess, right? And then, boom, he's into... Defense Against the Dark Arts.
Yeah.
So, and he's one and done there.
Interesting change of subjects, yeah. Okay, second question. Who first enters Harry's compartment? Hogwarts Express.
His compartment? I think it's one of the twins.
Yes. So, I think,
right?
I think if I hadn't read the chapter... right before this, I probably would have said Ron because this is what we see in the movie, and often because movies are pictures and pictures
everywhere else is full.
Stick in our heads, But it's actually the twins who see and talk to Harry first on the Hogwarts Express, and they learn that it's Harry Potter. Yeah,
because they go back outside and they're like, Mom.
Yeah.
You'll never believe. By the way, I try to do like a British accent sometimes, guys, and it's terrible. So it's just god awful. So I apologize, but no, they're like, Harry Potter is on the train.
Yeah.
So and Ron, I because we'll get to it later because I'm kind of like, I wonder if Ron was sort of like, I want to find this kid.
Yeah.
Because I saw him before we went through the gate together, and like I want to see if they're messing with me.
Yeah, I wondered too if he was looking for him. Okay, and then third question, surprise. Where in the book, where does Neville find Trevor? He's been looking for it on the train, his toad. Where does he find it?
Oh my gosh. I think Hagrid finds it.
Yeah.
And I think it's on the platform when they get off the train.
Almost. Pretty close. But you're right, Hagrid finds it. And it's when the boats arrive at Hogwarts. It's in the boat.
It's in the boat.
One of the boats. Yeah.
Well, how did he get it?
I know, right?
It's funny. Trevor's
an interesting toad.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah, because I remember we were looking for him like out the gate. It is kind of cool when you're doing a reread and you're listening and you're like, okay, there's as he's passing by people, you've got like Lee Jordan, you've got Neville Longbottom. And others, and so you're hearing their names, you're hearing their actions and stuff, and you're like, I know those characters, I know what they grow to be and all that stuff. So it's really cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, talking about toads.
What, you rescue these creatures?
Yes, that's right. Rescue, nurture, and protect them. I'm gently trying to educate my fellow wizards about them. Come on.
Welcome to our weekly Magi-zoology lesson. Bill and Flora want to learn even more about magical creatures and fantastic beasts and share this knowledge with you guys so we can all appreciate them more. Newt would be proud of us. This week we'll take a closer look at winged horses, sweetie.
Winged horses, huh?
Because we know a couple of them, but there's quite a few actually. Winged horses are classified, and this is new. So because we have 4 different kinds mentioned here, their classification is XX to 4X.
Okay.
So some of them need definitely more knowledge and preparation from wizards than others are not as dangerous, I would say.
Okay.
Winged horses exist worldwide. There are many different breeds, including the Abraxan, immensely powerful giant palominos, which we have seen in Goblet of Fire, the Ethonian, chestnut popular in Britain and Ireland, the Granian, gray and particularly fast, and the rare Thestral, black, possessed of the power of invisibility and considered unlucky by many wizards. As with the hippogriff, the owner of a winged horse is required to perform a disillusionment charm upon it at regular intervals, so that muggles don't see them. And I was like, oh, they're invisible, but muggles have seen people die, so I think muggles who have seen death could possibly also see them. That's why.
Oh wow, that's why they had to put
and
the
this is
the
for
charm
all
on there.
winged horses. So
Yeah.
just the Thestral has this invisibility thing.
Right.
So we have the 4 known kinds that Newt writes about, but there's also possibly more than that.
Okay.
And we know that the horses that pull the bon bâton carriage are Abraxan. So they're huge. In the book they're described as big as elephants. Cool thing, the Abraxan, the Granian, and the Thestral, they're known to be corporeal forms of the Patronus charm.
Okay.
Can you imagine having a Thestral as your Patronus?
No, I
be
could not. That'd be all right though. They're nice.
I mean, they are. That's why I know.
Hagrid's got it. He's proud of his.
They are cool, actually,
or
and they have just a bad reputation. Yep. Thestrals, in contrast to the other winged horses, they don't have feathered wings, but rather leathery, like bat-like wings.
Right.
And their tail hair is very valuable. So it is said to be a powerful and tricky substance that could be mastered only by witch or wizard capable of facing death. It can be used as a wand core and was used to create the most powerful wand known by wizards, the Elder Wand.
Shut your mouth.
Yes, Thestral hair is the Elder Wand's core.
Are you messing with me right now?
No, I looked it up. It's the truth.
What?
Yep.
Okay.
Interesting, right? Because a Thestral is supposed to be an omen of death, and you can only see it once you've seen death. And the Elder Wand, I know you can also just disarm, but often they killed the other owner, the former owner.
Right.
So almost like, if you have seen death, then you can hold it.
I see.
Kind of thing.
Okay. Wow.
There's definitely a connection to death with both of them. Yeah.
Huh.
And then people who have been wondering, okay, the Thestrals, they fly the 5 DA members, Harry, Hermione, Ron, Neville, and Luna, to the Ministry.
Yeah.
So they assume, okay, they're pretty intelligent, they understand human speech, and they also have a quite useful sense of direction. So a Thestral could understand where the rider needs to go, even if the beast itself might or might not be familiar with the terminus in question. If their riders had a certain destination in mind, they only needed to say the destination, and the creature would diligently carry them to the intended location. So this is like a magic that owls also have with letters.
Right.
Although, I think owls even have a different kind of magic, because is a person a place? Would you agree that a person is also considered a place? Wherever the person is the place where the person
Sure, you just go find this person and they're at a particular place.
Because you don't often, they had no idea where Sirius was hiding, right? And they send Hedwig to Sirius.
Yep.
And she was able to find him. So it's like the magic of saying the person's name, imagining his or her face, and then the owl would know where to go, which is a cool kind of magic, I think.
Yeah.
Very handy.
Yeah, because people are on the move. Maybe there's a certain spot where you go to deliver their mail or something, but like Harry Potter was on the move and those owls had to kind of find him. And so, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So question, would you want to have or befriend a winged horse?
Yeah, I think that would be cool. I actually really do think it would be cool. Just because, there's a bit more room. Like, if they're okay with being, taking me for a ride, I would appreciate that. I feel like they're, they know what they're up to, right? They're magical creatures, and there's more room on that. Like, the broom scares me a little bit, It's like,
true.
It's just a little bit more room back there. So
yeah, I think you have to be really balanced on a broom. Yep.
Yeah, but no, I think it's really neat, and I think it's cool because they do all kind of seem like gentle creatures, even though there's when Hagrid is taking care of the
Abraxans.
Yeah, like they seem like they need a bit more care for sure.
Yeah.
Well, what is it? They only drink
single malt whiskey.
Yeah. So I don't know. Seems kind of fun to be around, maybe.
Yeah, but that seems expensive to keep them.
Yeah, for sure. But no, I would for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. I would, if they didn't drink the whiskey, I would want to have an Abraxan just because they're so big and it would be so cool to ride on them and just fly. Like you said, sometimes it's cooler to have a little bit more space compared to a broom. Yeah. That'd be awesome. All right, but this time we're gonna get to Hogwarts through the train.
Through the train, yes.
Hogwarts Express.
Yeah, we're going to jump in today's chapter. So this is the journey from platform 9 3/4. Let's go. Wow.
Summary of Chapter 6, The Journey from Platform 9 3/4.
You want me to read the summary, or you want to read it? Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, gosh.
Rock, paper, scissors. Okay, let's play it. Okay. And you get to choose what you want to do when you win.
Okay, so you're going to go rock, paper, scissors, shoot, and then you do your thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go.
Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay, so I win, so I'll read it.
Cool.
Okay. Here we go. Harry spends his last few weeks before school counting down his miserable days at Privet Drive. At least now he has some company with Hedwig and excitedly starts reading a bit here and there in his new school books. The Dursleys kindly take him to King's Cross on September 1st, where his journey into magical education, friends, and adventures is about to begin. Harry is left on his own at the massive train station, after being dropped off by his aunt, uncle, and cousin who are on their way to the hospital to have Dudley's pigtail removed. Harry starts panicking when he can't seem to figure out how on earth he's supposed to get to platform 9 3/4, until a big family with 5 kids, big suitcases, and an owl catches his attention. With only a few minutes left until the train leaves, Harry quickly follows them to one of the barriers between platforms 9 and 10, and shyly asks the mother how to get onto the platform. She explains he just needs to run through the barrier like her 3 sons before him. Harry rushes through, hastily finds an empty compartment, and watches the Weasley family exchange goodbyes through the window. The twins realize it was Harry Potter whom they had seen, and Ginny gets upset that she can't go look at him again. As the rest of the train seems full, and Ron being one of the last kids getting on the train, he politely asks Harry if he could join him in his compartment. Each of them, highly interested in the other, they bond over telling their personal stories and sharing Bertie Bott's every flavored beans, chocolate frogs, and cauldron cakes. On the long train ride through the English and Scottish Highlands, the two become friends, and news spreads fast that Harry Potter is on the Hogwarts Express. Therefore, they're being visited by a couple other first-year kids. First, a round-faced boy, a quite bossy but also very knowledgeable girl, stopped by to look for the boy's toad. Later, Draco Malfoy and his bodyguards strut in and try to convince Harry that they are the better kinds of wizards to hang out with, rather than riffraff like the Weasleys or even Hagrid. Harry coolly dismisses Draco's proposal, and Scabbers reveals his true Gryffindor nature, cough cough, and fights off the intruders. The train finally arrives at Hogsmeade Station, and Harry is delighted to see Hagrid at the platform. He takes the first-year students on a spectacular boat ride across the lake to see Hogwarts Castle in its full beauty for the first time. Okay, so, we start this chapter off back at the Dursleys. It's, it's like a month left until Harry is going to get on the train and head to Hogwarts. And I had wrote down that I think it's probably the longest and the shortest month of his life, in a crazy way.
Yeah.
One of those things where you're like waiting for something really exciting to happen, and you're just thinking about it, you're dwelling on it, you're reading your books deep into the night, which is cool, and that's seemingly that's kind of making time go by quicker. But then every morning he wakes up and goes down, and there's the Dursleys, and they're still whatever. So it's weird. That moment where it's like time feels fast, but it also feels slow?
Yes.
Yeah, it just feels like that's sort of what's going on with Harry. So at least he has the books. They're really interesting, and he gets to just kind of read those and think about it. We know Hermione is also reading or has read them numerous times already.
I'm learning them by heart.
Yep, she has them memorized already. So that's pretty cool. The other big thing, it's like he now has this whole room, and he's being left alone, which is a good thing, but also it's depressing. Yeah, like
no one talks to him anymore.
Yeah, it was almost like the other way, or at least he was acknowledged, but then it was almost this worse form of like, you don't even exist. Yeah. We're not even going to acknowledge your existence, which was almost worse, Yeah. So it's just weird. He just has such a struggle there, and again, they're really put off. I mean, Dudley, he says, at least was scared of him finally. So that's sort of been a reverse. And Hedwig is flying in and out, catching mice. So thankfully they are leaving him alone, although he'd be in big trouble for that, right? Get this bloody bird out of here.
Petunia would absolutely
lose her mind. Yeah.
Yeah. When was the last time you were so excited for something that you counted down the days on the calendar? Like you literally crossed off the days.
Oh boy. The last time I did that was right before my trip to Costa Rica. Yeah. So that was it. And also before that, it was the end of the school year. Mm-hmm. This is crazy. Teachers do this.
Oh,
we put the dates up there and we cross them off, and we keep telling ourselves, we're almost there. Like we just march through it just day by day. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
That's so
Cross
funny
them off.
that Harry does the opposite here. He counts down the days till the school year starts and all the Hogwarts teachers are like, oh no.
Like, oh man, here we go. Yeah. Yeah, it's a different feeling though too,
Yeah. Oh, I think so too. Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I always wonder what it would be like to go to a school where you got to live there, and it's like a boarding school. I know that some people who went to boarding school are probably like, yeah, it's terrible. But I don't know. This is like the coolest version of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get to go there and you have like magical food appearing and staircases that move and just all sorts of stuff. Even in between classes, like you're challenged magically and stuff. So that's why we all think Hogwarts is amazing. But I like the idea of being able to go off to school. Now, for the professors, that would be annoying. That'd be a bit annoying. Like you gotta you can't just detach. You're just there.
Always.
Yeah. And that is what kids think of us anyways. Yeah. Like they see you out and about at the fair, for example, and they're like, oh, Mr. Kirk? Why'd you leave the school? Had to get out, man. Had to get some fresh air. So anyways, it's, wild for them to be there. But for the kids, I feel like it's kind of cool. It's just you're there with all your friends. And,
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yep. But
you got to have the rules. You got to have Filch and such. But anyways, the countdown is it's the opposite of what we're doing right now. Harry is looking forward to that day, September 1st.
Later on, we have an interesting owl post from Angelina talking about something about leaving your home in Hogwarts and
cool.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah. Nice. So, all right. So we have the Dursleys are scared to death. Longest, shortest month of Harry's life. And then as Harry kind of realizes, he's like, hey, all right, I got to go downstairs. And like, it's like tomorrow I need to be at King's Cross. So he goes down and he's going to talk to Uncle Vernon and he's going to ask him if he can get a ride.
A little bit late, Harry, to ask.
Yeah, just like tomorrow. Thank goodness they didn't have plans.
Yeah.
Oh, they did have plans. They just happened to align with where you're going to go.
Yeah.
And Harry doesn't know enough about like whether he can get a ride. I mean, how's he supposed to get there?
Yeah.
You know, the whole 9 yards.
It's like a typical kids thing. Like the day or the night before you're supposed to go, you're like, oh.
I mean, what if he does miss the train?
I am constantly thinking about that because what if, a lot of people ask what would have happened if Ron and Harry didn't get on the Fort Anglia the car,
Right.
and just waited there. Is there
Yeah.
another train? Is there any other way you get to
Parents
Hogwarts?
would've got
I'm
him
pretty
there.
sure there's always people who are late, or
Yeah.
there is sometimes an accident, something happens, and you can't leave for a while, and there has to be some way to get to Hogwarts.
Yeah.
It's probably not the like. You don't make the best impression if you come in late, but
Yeah. Interesting, too, and not to flash too forward here, but they talk about the privacy of Hogwarts, and that's why it's a secret school.
Yeah.
And the other schools, they had secrets and magic, and you didn't want to, you took pride sort of in your own school.
Right.
So later on in the Goblet of Fire, it's like, I have to go back and think and remember, did they have special port keys that got them so far within proximity and then they could fly there? Because that was the big thing is where is the school? And Harry's like, I don't know, actually.
Good.
And that's the whole point, is that it is secret. So it's also interesting that when they take the car there, they're able to find it and find the tracks and get there and follow it. Sort of.
Yeah.
So they stumble across it. Maybe it's need based, they needed to get there, and so that's why magic allowed them to get there, because they actually are allowed to be there. You know what I mean, sort of thing. But I feel like if you were there to I don't know, it's just weird.
So it's
there's
almost
also
like
Hogsmeade. It's right there. So you go to Hogsmeade and you can basically see,
Yeah. It's almost like you have to have a magical aid, some kind of. They had the car, and they had the boat. Harry and Ron had the car. The Durmstrangs had their boat, and the Beauxbatons had their carriage and their horses.
Yeah.
So if you just let that, Ron was on the steering wheel. He was the one driving the car still.
I don't remember where that was at, but they basically said that it was, we were listening. We were I think we were I don't know, one night we were listening to Goblet of Fire.
Yes.
And they talked about that. They talked about how the school is so secret and there's
hidden,
competition. Actually, who else was it? Was it Hermione? Yeah, who was coming into, because everyone's oh, it's going to be such an exciting year. I know we're kind of flashing way forward here, but she was talking about the different schools and whether she would or wouldn't have liked to go to those different schools. And then Carrie was sort of huh? There's different schools? What? And then, there was something about trying to get to Hogwarts, and she was... So anybody out there who knows what I'm talking about remembers that the beginning of Goblet of Fire and what that whole conversation was about. It was interesting because they definitely was a competition. They did not want to have the other schools know exactly where they were so they could come in and get their secrets about magic or teaching or whatever. Just weird.
Just a little silly,
Yeah, but anyway, because Vernon asked, hey, where's this school at? I don't know. I got to go to platform...
in Scotland.
I have to go to platform 9 3/4.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, actually... Before he makes the joke, which Lottie has been very fond of and has been, honestly, she's been walking around the house. It's weird. She just walks around. She's coming down the stairs and she's flying carpets, just laugh, as if you're. She didn't actually do that, but
no, I didn't.
When Lottie makes a joke now, she's kind of chuckling at herself like Vernon. She just thinks she's funny.
every time. I mean, that when you make a joke and you just think you're so funny and you laugh at your own joke. Everyone does that at some point. And I now always have to think about Vernon because in one of the first chapters, it's he's just chuckling at his own joke.
Yeah. Well, in this one, so it was he kind of, and he's not necessarily chuckling at it. It's the whole, he's making that, was it he's a funny way to get to a wizard school, right? What did they roll? They run out of magic carpets or something, and just this is funny.
Yeah.
So anyways, he's making that joke. And then when he says he has to get to platform 9 3/4, it's interesting that Petunia is shocked.
I'm pretty sure either
She knew.
Yeah, she's acting out because
She
she
knows.
wants to prevent anything or any knowledge she has. She doesn't want to put it in front of Vernon's face that she knows all that stuff. And I think she just it's like, oh, platform 9 3/4.
Right.
Never heard of it.
Do you think
Ridiculous.
I have a feeling that she maybe, and I don't know if this is stated in the book anywhere or not, in the series, but I have a feeling Petunia would have gone with Lily.
That's what I think too.
Right?
Maybe the first time or so.
Just to see her off.
Ginny
Like, this is
goes,
so
too.
crazy. Like, why? Because if you can try, I mean, she clearly knows she has a sister
Yeah.
who is going to be a witch.
Yeah.
And her parents were so happy that they had a witch in the family. And just like Hermione's parents, they get to go
Yeah.
to Diagon Alley and they get to celebrate that. That's actually a really crazy thing to think
Yeah.
about, is that like Harry's, grandparents were there in Diagon Alley with
Yeah.
Lily and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
it's just it's something.
Yeah.
It's just really cool.
True. And I think Petunia maybe she came with them the first time, but maybe after that she was so hurt she didn't want to have anything to do with it. Maybe she didn't even go the first time. Who knows? Because she was a little bit older. It's like Ginny goes because she's so young and they don't want to leave Ginny home alone, and she just wants to,
Yeah.
say goodbye to her brothers. But I don't think Petunia went because
You don't think she did?
maybe once. But
Yeah, I
don't
was thinking
think-
at least one time she went, so she
Yeah.
knew and stuff, and everything. Here's something I think is interesting, and this is probably an indication. This is probably what we're going to do for my next short on Harry Potter Hanging.
Okay.
Okay. What if Dudley, all those years later, has a child who turns 11 and gets a letter?
There is some magical blood.
Right? Right? I mean, to say, like, wouldn't that be wild?
Yes.
It would be absolutely wild.
Mind blowing. Oh
And
my goodness.
I would love for Dudley to have that sort of like, respond to it differently.
Yeah.
Even if it was something that Petunia was saying there at the very end. I don't know how far all that story kind of goes or whatever, but just writing something to Dudley about like, even like regrets or wishing. I know that's actually said in the Cursed Child or whatever, but it would be kind of cool to have that moment of like, I could have, because I love the what if on Petunia. We watched a video the other night about what if Petunia had gone to Hogwarts.
How would the story
and
be different?
How different would it have been? And this individual, I think this is Harry Potter folklore, just to give a shout out there, actually said that, I mean, it's just a big what if, so you can do whatever you want in a what if scenario where you just sort them and you say, yep, she would have been in Ravenclaw and she would have been awesome because she's, super whatever, wanted to be really savvy in terms of like magical abilities and wanted to learn everything that she could.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like she would have, done that. And she could, even in this situation, she could have been very different. She could have been the aunt that was taking her nephew, who was like essentially the chosen one, savior of the wizarding world.
Right.
And if she only understood that and had a better relationship with her sister and really embraced that, they would have been thanked and whatever. It would be so odd, though. Like, Vernon, I feel like, had Petunia have married anyone else besides, maybe it was just Vernon was so put off by it and so into the ordinary she was attracted to that for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting to think about, had she have gone there, even by herself, and she said, you know what, he's my nephew, Vernon, I'm going to deal with this. And she goes there, and this first time, and she realizes, okay, actually, like,
It almost makes me cry.
I know, like
If they had
my
a better
sister,
relationship.
what, but like if they would have went up to her and said, you're, I mean, if they would have like been talking about her sister and how much she meant, all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like that would have been so wild to hear and see that perspective of platform 9 3/4.
Yeah.
To have almost a redemption. She had all that bitterness and all those different things, and then over the years, they never really got to, it just happened so sudden. Your
Yeah.
sister's gone. How do you deal with that?
Yeah.
I actually really wish more would have been done with Petunia and
Yeah.
Vernon in that regard. It was almost like they were set up as these stock characters that were mean and nasty and just whatever, and they never could come back around to the other side. So it was nice to see years later that she did the whole holding the blanket thing, keeping Harry's blanket, and inside she's torn, and then she cares about her dudders, but that's why I bring up the thing. I think it would be really cool if Dudley like had kids who had to go to Hogwarts.
Her grandkids.
Her grandkids get to go.
I mean, unfortunately, I think she passed away pretty
yeah.
early, like in her 50s.
We can wreck
or
on that. We can wreck on that.
But
Change it.
yeah, that would have been, I mean, and then she could have had a redemption arc where she was like, okay, obviously this magical thing is in my family. It's something that I cannot, and because she loves Dudley so much that she would love her grandkids no matter what. I'm pretty sure. Like, even if they were magical, she would get over it. And because Dudley is her everything, sweetie.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So just so we're clear, let's see real quick. The Fiona Shaw, who plays Aunt Petunia, is 64 years old right now, from Ireland. Still semi-active, actually. And so that's pretty cool. And she's done a lot of different stuff. I feel like she's really, really cool. So anyway, just throwing that out there. It's a possibility, and I'm going to do a little short on it because, if the internet demands it, I mean, then maybe they'll go do something with it.
Yeah.
Which I think would be cool.
And it's funny how we always come back to the Dursleys. We have to let go. We have to let go of them. And
we will. And
get on the train.
We will be forced to here at some point. So we're about to. Okay. So the jokes are made. Yeah. I just had the question: what if Petunia embraced all of this?
Yeah.
And there's that. So
cool.
Now the other thing is that Dudley has to go. The tail removal situation is wild. I still want to throw out in my head canon. They did send, he went to Professor Dumbledore. Or said, hey, you might want to take care of that little fella.
Yeah.
Send him some aid. I messed up. The only one he could trust with, telling that he did magic was Dumbledore. Dumbledore, sorry, I did it again. He's like, Hagrid.
Yeah.
And so, but I feel like they don't accept the magical removal system, so they have to go get surgery, and that sucks.
What do you tell the doctors, though?
You don't know. These things happen.
We experimented with some stem cells, and
something, that, or you woke up one day and it just happened,
Crazy.
Maybe they pretend like it's been there for a while or something.
I feel like that story should have made the Muggle papers.
Yeah, I think Vernon paid extra to keep it all on the down low. So strange and actually really sad for Dudley. Not cool. Yeah. Not cool at all.
I mean, this is all like we talked about. This all just enhances their fear of magic because
for sure.
everyone just uses it against them, kind of thing.
Yeah. That's true because now it's the thing. I mean, now Harry can use magic and it's been used against them now, which did actually, that was their fear. That is a fear, right? Is that you're going to just use magic, and it came true. Yeah, and you're going to bully them in a sense, even though they've been bullying Harry.
Yeah.
So
it's a very difficult dynamic.
Yeah, it's weird. So, all right, moving on. So we have meeting the Weasleys. The twins deal with their older brothers the way that Ron wishes he could. So here's I had this thought when we were listening to it. We first, when we're there, Harry's looking around, can't figure out how to get on this platform. They're laughing. Literally all of the they had one last good laugh, right? Which was ha ha ha, right? They're going to go off and do their own thing. And they probably had a great year. Thinking how he's probably still on the train station. It's November. They're he's probably still walking around London. I mean, not really, but it's clearly he got there at some point and didn't come back. So the laugh's over, guys. Yeah. But yeah, so he can't figure out how to get on, and he overhears the Weasleys. This is a great scene. I love this, where he overhears them talking about Muggles, just packed with Muggles. They've got owls. They've got the red hair. They look different, pushing carts. They look like him. I mean, he sees sort of his people. Yeah. And they are headed towards the platform, and he eventually will ask how to get on. Yeah. Fred and George are making the jokes. They make jokes about Percy later I forget if it's before or after when they get through, but I think Percy goes first. Right, yeah. So he goes through first, and then it's the twins, and then Harry will kind of jump in there, and it's Ron's first time, and here we go. Ginny's eyes are hey, what's up, pubs? Woo, that was going on for a long time. Oh, I love it. I actually love that. I love their relationship. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I think it's fantastic. So, anyways, we get the advice from Molly on how to get on the train. We get there. I bring up this bit about the twins because they make so much fun of Percy. Mm-hmm. And actually, you just sort of see what they do. You see their actions about how they downplay his successes, and they just almost make fun of him. Have it. Because they don't. But and it's the same thing that Ron, though, says, which is that, I honestly, whatever Ron admits here to Harry about how he's the sixth, they are the fourth and the fifth. Yeah. And they feel the same way that Ron does, but they handle it totally different. Yeah. Right? So they play, and they're also two, whereas Ron is
right. They're
one.
Always together. Yeah. They have a cool, reputation at Hogwarts. Yeah. Everyone loves them.
And the thing is, too, they have each other. Yeah. Right? So they don't need really to, which is kind of cool, being twins and stuff. They get to kind of laugh off everything else and say, we're not like the rest of those guys because we're the twins. Yeah. We stand out. We're special in that we are twin brothers, and if I make a joke, my Fred will laugh at me or whatever. And Ron doesn't have that necessarily. He is you jump right over the twins, and he's compared to Percy, right? Charlie and Bill. And so he's got to be the same. He's got to be as good as, and if he does, he's expected to be as good as. And if he does, everybody else already did it.
Yeah.
It's nothing extra special about him. Mm-hmm. And he feels that pressure. And I just feel like the twins, they felt that same pressure as well, but they're different in terms of they're the twins.
Right.
And then they also handled it differently with humor and comedy and downplaying it in this different way, Right. So, and then Ron, though, we know secretly wants to be as good as those older brothers.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
He wants to be head boy.
That's his deepest desire.
Yeah. And
we find out.
And it's crazy because he wants to impress his family. He wants his mom and dad to be proud of him. And he does feel when he faces the Horcruxes later that he was the child that they really didn't want. They wanted Jenny. They wanted a girl.
That's what he makes up in his mind.
Yeah, he makes this up in his mind that I was just an extra. I'm sort of a mistake. And
sorry, because we're a family couple podcast, and this is our perspective. Because if I think about if I had 6 kids and one of them would think I love him less, that would break my heart.
I know.
You're and Mrs. Weasley is the queen of the moms. The way she takes Harry in right away, the way she talks to him right here and helps him out, and she loves all her children the same way. Even though she sometimes has, she doesn't communicate it sometimes the right way because
she's a stern.
We get into it later when the twins find their own way, and she has a little, fight with them. And,
she's just like any mother has her own, this is the strict orthodox way as to how we've done it before, what are you guys doing, and there's a fear of the unknown because your kids are going to go out and do something that's risky,
because you love them so much.
You love them. You don't want them to do something that you don't understand, and then you have to come around and say, all right, I have to have faith and believe in them, and I've got to I raised them the right way. They're going to take the best of what we taught them, and they're going to move forward.
Right.
Yeah. So that's really cool because honestly, they did a great job. I mean, J.K. Rowling did a great job with the Percy and Molly relationship. You know what I mean? Because that gets way messed up later, and still Molly the whole time is just loves Percy. Yeah. Even though there's all these things going on, and it really just shows a mother's love. Yeah. And I felt like that was such a great thing. So we see it right away with Harry when he shows up here. She takes him in and is so kind. She's even telling the boys, hey, don't make anything of this Harry Potter business. Don't ask him anything. I forbid you to do that, etc. Go blow some toilets up instead, right? That's better than picking on this Harry Potter kid who... Yeah. So...
Don't blow up toilets.
Right. So then, as we get in there, I mean, Ron, he is just kind of... he's made a new friend. And I think he went in and he is talking to... He's talking to Harry. I don't think that was the only... I don't think everywhere else was full. I think he...
Okay.
I really do think he could have squeezed in somewhere else. I think Harry's wasn't full, which was the open door opportunity to say, you know what? I just saw this kid. I wonder, right? I wonder if this is Harry Potter. And so, boom, he goes in, sits down, and they start talking and hanging out, and they're friends. And he really does think, maybe Fred and George are pulling in a joke on him, right? Because they give him the spell as to how to turn the rat yellow, and it's not necessarily a spell. They're just messing with him, just teasing and stuff. But, so he has a good conversation with Harry, and they start to kind of, bond over telling their stories. Yes. And that was really cool because there is you do feel like, I'll say this, even as an adult couple, when you are out and about, so think about this from a kid's perspective, and all of my friends, they say what they want now, but everyone knows that I had a job. I worked at Long John Silver's. Yeah. I worked at Hardee's. I worked at Olive Garden. I worked at a factory all through college, and even when starting teaching, I worked at these places. And it's because I wanted extra money because my friends either didn't work, weren't allowed to. I don't know what the deal was, whatever. But they were my friends, and I wanted to go to the movies. I wanted to go do stuff. And so like Harry, I was like, I want to, no, come on. Don't worry about that. I also don't have a lot of money. Don't worry about it. I get it, dude. Like let's go hang out or whatever. And it feels good to do that. And I feel like, too, Ron is sort of, you don't want to admit that you are poor and that you don't have a lot of money, and you're trying to make not excuses, but explain to your friends why you can't go and do the stuff that they want to do or they're allowed
Right.
to do or whatever.
Yeah.
And I see it where I teach too. The different dynamics of kids are like, let's just go do this, and they're just sort of like, yeah, I don't have a ride to do that.
Yeah.
I can't do those things. I don't have the money to go do that stuff or whatever.
And you'd learn
know?
later, I think the vacation to Egypt, when they get some money, like the promotion and stuff, that's like the first time they can go on a family trip like that, I think.
Yeah, and those things, they're huge. They're
Mm-hmm.
a big deal. I mean, I think more people need to just be just kindness, because like so many people are going through a lot of different stuff like
Yeah.
that, and I see it at school and I saw it growing up, and I don't know. I know, like, my sister's the total opposite of me. She wants to save every nickel and every penny, and
Yeah.
she was like, we may have some money, but we're not doing anything. We're gonna sit outside and pick up some sticks to have fun instead. You know what I mean? She was like, we don't need to go do all these different things, and so she took sort of the opposite approach of me and
Yeah.
said, I'm gonna save up every penny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool little bonding experience that they have where
Mm-hmm.
Harry's like, I didn't have anything, and he actually says, he's like, it felt good to share with
Yeah.
Ron. It felt good to share those things. So they get into the chocolate frogs, and I think
Yeah.
that's where I'm going to kind of turn it over to you, because they definitely get into some
Yeah.
sweets.
Yeah, before we get to the chocolate frogs and the cards, I want to read something real quick because it's so cool. Kayla reached out to us and wrote us an email about the sweets that we...
Oh,
First time that Harry tries to buy some wizarding sweets, right?
yeah.
And she's so cute. She apologizes. That she only has comments about food. She's a Hufflepuff.
Yeah, makes sense.
I love, you should know by now. I love Hufflepuffs.
Aren't they the nicest people in
They
the whole world?
are. And
Aren't they
I'm
just great?
I'm 49.9% Hufflepuff too.
You're
because-
a little puff. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You're an adopted
I'm a
puff. We let you.
claw, but
You're a claw, but we let you
very-
hang out.
Very puffy claw.
Yeah, you hang out in the common room all the time.
No, yeah, that's so cool though. Thanks for writing in, Kayla. And she says, I learned something through her. Here we go. So Harry is looking for Mars bars
Yeah.
when he walks out and tries to buy some sweets, right? And Kayla's like, am I the only one who finds it strange that Harry is excited to buy Mars bars? Does anyone really call them that? Maybe it's a Midwest or Wisconsin thing, but I feel like they're just candy bars. And I'm like, yeah, there is a lot of people who call them Mars bars because they are Mars bars. And then I Google it and find out in the States, you guys don't have Mars bars. It's so
Yeah.
funny. Like, it's here, I think I read it. I think here it's called Milky Way. So what does your Milky Way bar consist of? What's in the Milky Way bar?
Yeah, I don't really know. It's just the Milky Way.
Okay.
I mean, imagine tasting the galaxy
Because
in your mouth,
This,
and
sweetie,
that's what it is.
if I Google it,
okay?
and this is the picture, this is what I
Oh, yeah.
know as a Mars bar
that's
in
a,
Germany.
That's a Milky Way. It looks just like a Milky Way. So whatever you would
That
say.
is wild.
Yeah, whatever-
That's totally a Mars bar.
Well, what would you say is in a Mars bar? I mean, I don't really know what's in.
It's so Mars bar has like chocolate covered, and then there's definitely caramel in it, and the cream, like the I don't know if it's peanut. No, it's not. The cream, nougat. Yeah.
So okay, it's not necessarily. I'm looking at it now, like if you, because you have a Snickers bar which has a lot of the same stuff as this as well. The Milky Way
Wow, it's
is
so
a little different. But yeah, they're different combinations though.
Because
As
we
in-
have Milky Way, which is for us totally different. The European Milky Way. So I have never noticed that because honestly, not to brag, but in the grocery store we don't look at candy at all. We don't have kids yet, so we don't really look at the candy stuff. And I've never noticed it. But look, this is our Milky Way,
Right.
the blue one.
Right. And if you look at the inside of it, though, it's got a little less like it seems like a single layer versus, or a single filling versus a, Also, look at the size difference of those bad boys.
Oh my
Look at the Milky Way,
Yeah.
and then look at the Milky Way in Europe.
Interesting.
Let's go.
Wow. To answer your question, though, Kayla, yes, it is a Midwest or the whole United States thing, I guess. Mars bars are a thing in Germany, and I totally did not stumble upon that because totally normal to say I want a Mars bar. But cool that you pointed it out. Now I learned something.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I actually do recall when I was reading, and they said Mars bars. I was sort of like, that's just because you catch those things that are more British, that are more not necessarily. Not that we don't. I think we do have. I think back in the day we had Mars bars, or it was more of a common thing. But we're now gonna have to go to the candy store, or we're gonna have to go to the checkout and
just compare them.
I honestly think we should splurge a little bit and maybe have one if we can find one.
We could.
I just feel like maybe for the next episode we should have one. So.
Yeah, I was trying to find chocolate frogs, but they didn't have them at Kroger. I guess they have them at some other
Target and stuff.
Yeah,
different places.
I think you can find them there, but yeah. Second comment from Kayla: how much chocolate does Ron eat to collect 500 chocolate frog cards? And how long has he been collecting to have so many at only 11 years old? I tell myself he knows some people who eat the candy but don't collect the cards, so he could get some from them. But still, that's a whole lot of sugar. Okay, interesting thought. 500 cards is a lot. We'll actually cover more about the chocolate frog cards and the people that are on there a little bit in the extendable ear edition, because it's so cool. There's so many on the wiki page.
Okay.
But you're right, it's a lot of cards. How I imagine it, though, he has 5 brothers and a little sister. And let's say he is the only one who collects. Let's say, they have been around for a while, the chocolate frog cards. And so let's say his brother Charlie, when he was little, he started collecting. And then Bill got into it too. And they're adults, they're just like pass them on to their brothers or whatever. Mm-hmm. I feel like Percy would not necessarily get into that for some reason. Mm-hmm. But let's say they on their own collected 300 cards together because they were really into it, and then they kind of gave them away to their passed them on. Maybe Fred and George, when they were a little bit younger, they collected for a while, and then I feel like all the candy they ate would be given to Ron at the end. Or not the candy, the cards of the chocolate frogs. Yeah. And maybe it's something like when some person collects something, then everyone else is happy that they know, okay, for their birthdays, for Christmas, we can give him that because he collects that. And maybe for every Christmas or birthday, he got some from his... he has a big family. We know that too. Not just his brothers, but all his cousins, aunts, uncles. If they all know Ron loves these cards and he collects them and wants them all. And I think he only misses 2.
Yeah. So I also did a little bit of the math here. He's 11 years old. Yeah. And if you divide the number of years into the number of chocolate frogs, it's 50, right? So, or 45.
45 a year.
45 a year. So
well, let's say in his first year, hopefully he didn't eat 45 chocolate frogs.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, so that's a lot. It's either when did he start? Because then if you take it down to 6, if he's 6 years old or whatever, or from 6 on, would be I don't even know. It's 5 years, or maybe if we go from 5 years, so 6. Let's say for 6 years he's been eating them. Let's just do that. Yeah. That's 80. That's 83 a year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking he definitely got
more than
help.
1 a week.
Yeah.
So some people are like, guys, come on now. I have got my Snickers bar every day.
I know.
Start the day off right.
I know. Some people get coffee. Some people eat their
Snickers
Mars bars.
Yeah. Jay. So anyways, All right, Kayla, thank you though very much.
Yeah, thank you for your thoughts.
She says, please don't judge me for having comments about it.
I love it. No.
It's awesome.
Yeah, then they get onto this whole, Ron teaches Harry all about chocolate frogs and their cards, and the first card that Harry gets is Albus Dumbledore.
Very first one.
Very first card, and it's a pretty significant card because it helps them in 2 ways. In this year, they find out about Nicholas Flamel. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then later on, when I think the last book... Harry remembers having read Grindelwald's name on this card.
Okay, yep.
And they figure out, the whole connection with Dumbledore and Grindelwald, and I think it's about the wands and everything.
Okay.
Anyway, so this card is very important that Harry gets that card first.
And my question, though, is it a common, it's just is Dumbledore a common card? You know how you have, rare Pokemon cards that don't show up a whole lot, or is he more of a rare chocolate frog
I feel
card.
like he's pretty common.
I feel like he's pretty common.
Because he's the headmaster, and it's cool that Harry, on his way to the school, gets the headmaster, and a lot of kids would recognize him. And I think like the whole collecting system about different important figures or people in history, like teaches the kids a little bit about history, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like just glancing at all the different cards on the wiki page was pretty interesting. So we learn, like on the card itself, it says that Albus Dumbledore is considered by many the greatest wizard of modern times. Dumbledore is particularly famous for his defeat of the Dark Wizard Grindelwald in 1945.
Okay.
Do you think she already had the whole backstory?
I don't know the whole backstory, but like I definitely think enough that it kind of that she because you have to have some. I think going in as a creator, that's what they say. Like a lot of people they have a couple bullet points, a couple different things, but they don't really have the whole world sort of built out. I think it's better when you do. I think if you have a better understanding of like the first order of the Phoenix and Harry's, like you have to almost understand there was this Lord beforehand, Dark Lord, and he fought him, and then McGonagall says in the opening chapter that you're the only one who he really feared, and so okay, what does that mean, and everything. So
I think there has been like he had the structure, she had the structure, not in detail written out maybe, but yeah, she knew that Grindelwald is gonna be or was important, definitely.
Right.
That this is no coincidence that this fact is on the card. I feel.
Yeah.
And then he also was famous for discovering the 12 uses of dragon's blood. And this is interesting because I was gonna look up what are the 12 uses of dragon's blood.
Sounds like a good short topic as well.
Yes.
I don't know, maybe not.
But unfortunately, it's a mystery.
Oh, they don't have them listed? What are the uses? We want to know.
HP Lexicon quotes a comment from J.K. Rowling when someone asks, what are the 12 uses of dragon's blood? And she says, I have a very good reason for not telling you. The movie script writer wants me to give him that information for the film, but I can say that the 12th use is oven cleaner. But she says she has a very good reason for not telling us. And I'm like, did we miss? Is there something in this series that we don't see right now that where it's important?
Wait, was she talking about Fantastic Beast? Is where she was saying that person, or was she talking about the main series?
Unfortunately, so like I said, the source is hplexicon.org. I tried to find a date on that. I could not. They didn't put any date on the article, which is unfortunate. So we don't know if she said that when someone asked when this book just came out or when Fantastic Beasts was already out.
Right.
So if you guys can make the connection here, if it's already known what the 12 uses are or what the mystery was about the dragon's blood, please let us know because I can't make anything of it. And I tried to remember, is dragon's blood something that destroys Horcruxes or... Not really. I don't think it has anything to do with it. No. Yeah. So, yeah, well, if anyone knows, that's great. If not, maybe we'll find out in Hogwarts Legacy. Who knows? Yeah,
who knows, right? I mean, that's cool, though, because he's known for it, and there must be something that he uses with either Grindelwald or Voldemort, like later at some point. So, yeah, it's...
Yeah. Anyway, so cool. His first card is Dumbledore, and they start opening up all the chocolate frogs and start collecting. Harry becomes a collector too because it's fun, because Ron is now his friend. Funny thing, Ron is surprised when Harry tells him, the Muggle world, people just stay put in photos. And Ron's like, do they? What? They don't move at all? I mean, nowadays... you could actually have that technology and make people move in photos and stuff, but we still don't really do it. Anyway, so Ron sounds amazed.
Yeah.
He's like, weird. And that shows you how secluded they were in the burrow and their surroundings. Like they have some other wizarding families living nearby, but they are really like just...
Yeah.
They don't have any contact really to Muggle. I know like some relative of them is a Muggle, but they don't really talk to him. So he doesn't know much. And I feel like especially because he gets married to Hermione later on. He should have taken Muggle studies at school.
Yeah, he probably should have.
Because he knows nothing about Muggles.
Well, I mean, hey,
and his kids are like, their mom is Muggle and their grandpa and grandma are Muggles.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'll bring it up one more time because I always think a really cool visual is to imagine Ron in a nice, pristine, clean, like modern,
house,
like house or like apartment in the city, with Hermione and stuff like that. And she's just like, yeah, this is, this bit and that bit are better. She can mix and match maybe some stuff from the Muggle world and her magic, just things like that I think would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
So
true. That'd be cool to imagine. I love imagining that, what could people's homes look like or certain places. And that's why I love like channels on YouTube like ASMR Rooms. If you have a chance, check it out. It's like, or even ambient worlds, stuff like that, where you have a whole like ambience video that plays for an hour or two, and you get to like, you have some ambient sounds or even the soundtrack on other videos where you just, it's part of your room now. It's like you get immersed into that world for a little bit and have that ambient around, and I love that. I love the work behind it and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then they it's funny, like you said, that Ron says, everywhere else is full, and there are only 2 people in this compartment. Like no one else really tried to get in, and that's why I think your theory is accurate, because it's kind of weird that no one else but Ron would try to find a seat there.
Yeah.
But other people walk in, and not necessarily because they want to see Harry, because Neville lost his toad again.
Yeah, Trevor.
Then I was like, Trevor is mentioned so much. What if Trevor was an animagus? I think people have thought of that too.
Yeah, they
like,
have,
what if he is great uncle Ilgi or something?
Yeah.
But
I think she said that.
She said no.
Yeah.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling said no, that's not true. So I think Trevor is just a very a toad that doesn't really want to be either around Neville or just not around people in general, because fun fact, later on, so for a couple of years, Trevor sticks around. Neville loses him and finds him over and over again. But later, I don't know if it's 5th or 6th year or something, Trevor just joins he just stays down by the lake, I think, with other creatures, and they kind of part, and they both are a little relieved.
Like happy. Yeah.
That's
like,
mentioned on the wiki, and I was like, this is cool. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, because it fits with Neville just being this, after 5th year, he is one of the heroes who fought in the Department of Mysteries, and he gets a new wand, he gets a new sense of confidence. He's almost like, this blooming and a person who now finds his own way, and it's like this parting from his toad that someone else gave him, and he always like had problems like losing him. It's now you stay over there, like you're happy there.
Yeah.
I'm here rescuing the wizarding world.
So real quick, I just want to do a quick plug for one of our so we did an extendable ear edition. Again, over on Patreon. If you guys want to support us, we love you, and those who do, we love all you guys, regardless. But if you want to hear it, it's kind of a cool episode where we talk about wand lore, and we actually I'll just give you a little bit of it, just a quick little tease here. We talk about Neville's wand, and you just brought up Trevor, right? But also like to kind of go along with that, and this him becoming his own wizard, getting away from not really Trevor, but kind of around the same time, he'll then move beyond his father's wand. Yeah. And then same thing with Ron. He has a hand-me-down wand, and he will then grow into his own. Yeah. So the wands are really interesting to kind of look at these wizards who are using a wand that was once had an allegiance or a core that was loyal possibly to someone else. Right. So fascinating. More there than I really thought there was.
Exactly.
And
it's
cool.
It's perfect because Ron he wants to try some spells. As we find out, it's a false thing for turning Scabbers yellow or something. Yeah. And he takes out his wand, and he's like, unicorn hair's nearly poking out, and we know that he got this wand. It's a hand-me-down wand from Charlie.
Yeah.
And we talk about this in our extra episode. Unicorn hair is very loyal and does not really
change allegiance
to the other owner. So I think the unicorn hair is kind of like loyal to Charlie and slowly losing its magic. It's poking out, like this.
Yeah. It's wilting, they say, like a wilted wand.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild to think about that. I mean, it's not that it's nothing wrong with Ron or whatever. It's just definitely... Yeah, it just gets really attached and gets really loyal and really, So.
Yeah. And then, of course, he wants to try some magic, and who walks in? His future wife.
What's up, wife?
And her introduction is, first we're not really completely sure as the reader if we like her or not, because she seems a little bossy. And she, from the beginning, comes off as know-it-all. And I'm going to ask you, sitting across from me, and you as a listener, doesn't everyone kind of know at least one Hermione who seems to have done all the coursework in advance? And you're like...
Yeah.
And it's so funny because Harry's like, looks at Ron like, what? She learned all the books by heart?
Right,
and Ron's like, no,
yeah,
I did
did you?
not.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Were we supposed to do that? Yeah. Yeah, there are those who came in and they were like super prepared. And I even see this as a teacher sometimes, and you're sort of like, all the other kids are like, so like, can you like tell us real quick? What? It's just kind of funny. And then there's all this pressure on, but those kids, they come in, they have different standards, different expectations. They're more into academics and learning and stuff too.
Yeah.
It's also that, it's, I don't know, it's just a different personality type or whatever. But yeah, definitely, I think all of us can say we've met or come across someone who really has their academics together and is really
but also is the one that is most worried to get a bad grade, and they never get a bad grade. It's like them, I don't have full points. I don't think this time out, and they get an A plus. They ace every single class. But I gotta admit though, I was one of those. I wouldn't say I was this ambitious as Hermione. I liked learning, and I but I would be concerned. Like, I would be the one who said, "Oh, I don't know how I did on this test," and then I got a pretty good grade,
Right.
But in general, I wouldn't say I would learn everything by heart and stuff. So
yeah, but you're book smart. You're really smart.
Depends on the topic, but
okay, all right.
And then I think it's just cute where Ron says, "Whatever house I'm in, I hope she's not in it." And I think Ron you just jinxed it right there.
Yeah, he that's that whole thing where kids on the playground, right? There's a girl they like, they kind of like, or boy or whatever, and they pick on him and stuff.
Yeah.
So kids do that kind of thing.
Yeah. So Hermione and Neville, they come in and out, and Harry, they pretty much leave Harry and Ron alone though for the most of the ride, and then they talk about different things, right? And then Malfoy and his friends, bodyguards, fellows walk in. We don't really know if they're really, if you can call it real friends, because I feel like Malfoy would just ditch them whenever he doesn't need them anymore,
Yeah, I mean, they're also just guys who
need a leader. They need to follow someone, I feel like.
Right.
And they don't have a super, deep character profile. We really see them just as bodyguards.
Designed to be that way, yeah. So.
And I don't know how they ended up in Slytherin, because they don't seem super ambitious. But who knows? We don't really know them well enough.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny that after finding out that Harry already, Harry and Malfoy met in Diagon Alley, and Harry was with Hagrid in Diagon Alley and defended him, and said, "I think he's brilliant," and stuff like that. And still, now that Malfoy knew this was Harry Potter, he still tried to befriend him, even though Harry already made clear, I don't, care about background or heritage or if you're pure blood or not. But it's almost like he's trying to get the best people on his team before, from the beginning, before they even get to the school. Like that kind of person who tries to gather
recruiting.
around the strongest people around him, and he hears Harry is one of them. And I have a big question, and it leads a little bit to the point where last night also we were watching a video about how would the whole story be different if Harry was a Slytherin, you know?
Yeah.
So here's a question. Had Harry learned nothing about the houses before Hogwarts, and had he coincidentally sat in Malfoy's compartment? Because he just chose, like, oh, I would rather stay over here. I don't know. Many people might recognize me. I'd just rather be alone in this compartment. But had he just, been in his compartment, and like I said, he knew nothing about houses or anything, do you think he still would have ended up in Gryffindor? Because his choice later on was based on what he heard from other people.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's also possible that he would have landed in Slytherin too. I think the fact that he ultimately lands in Gryffindor, it's more, it does take your choice, right, as Dumbledore says, into account or whatever, and that was what mattered in that situation. But it still might have been like, if there's nothing, I wonder, right? Because it's interesting. He is, we know, a Horcrux in a way, right? Sort of.
Part of him is Voldemort's soul. Yeah.
Right. And so I think, though, that he's stronger than that part. And that's the whole point, is that even though that bit is there, he is stronger. And so he would have landed in
Is that what the...
Gryffindor.
Is he himself like a true headstall of Slytherin and Gryffindor? Or is the Slytherin part what the head saw is that Voldemort's soul part?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
Who knows?
I kind of think he still would have, just because of all the traits and everything.
Yeah.
Still would have been, just the way he talks to Ron and the way he talks to everybody else is just, that's seemingly the way he would go. And his mom and dad and everything. So.
But I think he really, the thing is, so you bring some personalities to Hogwarts. I know we're going to talk about this next chapter more. Just want to scratch the surface here a little bit. You bring some personality in, and then because you're sorted into that house, now you are surrounded by all these people who have, like similar values.
Yeah.
And that's what makes that character trait or value even stronger. Because you could have, his personality could have developed totally differently in Slytherin because he's surrounded by different people, and you kind of are forced to stay most of the day with your house people.
Your environment and your friends and who you're around really does. It does matter. Yeah, it does. Big time.
Just interesting thoughts here, because if you don't know anything about houses, how can you make a choice between two houses and when the head asks you? But he did know a little bit about houses, and he did realize, I do not want to be friends with Malfoy, because they seem pretty mean, and they try to steal their candy, and Scabbers protects them.
Yeah.
And I have a theory about Scabbers. What if Peter Pettigrew couldn't stand Goyle's dad, because he's a Death Eater too,
Right.
and he got his revenge at his son?
Probably.
Just because it's Goyle, and he's like, ugh,
No. Yeah.
just bites his finger. Why else would he protect him?
No, there's some history there. There's probably some history. There's a story. He was bullied, picked on, but then also because of fear, goes over to Voldemort, and then hated those guys.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. So we have some action there, and they are scared of the rat. And I think even Goyle's bleeding and stuff. So they leave.
They gotta bounce, yeah.
It's all good. So we have a lot of commotion during the train ride. It's a long train ride. And they finally make it to Hogsmeade. It's a great, great scene. This part is a great scene in the movie. We all love it. And who's waiting there? Hagrid. The first person who ever told Harry about the wizarding world and everything. And I think it's a perfect match that he picks up the first years. And I also... So like when they all go to the boats, in the movie they get their, like the camera goes up and you get your first glimpse of this beautiful castle.
Yeah.
The first years actually, like they, move, like they go to the boats and then they go around the corner and there they see this majestic castle, and it almost makes me cry thinking about it. Like those little first years, and they see it, and it's dark. It's already like evening, and you see all the lights in the castle and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool. Like they get to the castle by boat. It's a special, like they make a special entry for the first years. You know, it's like this welcome is a whole ceremony for them.
Yeah, it is. It's cool.
And
You're
even like so they walk up to like some stone steps, and then Hagrid raised a gigantic fist and knocked 3 times on the castle door. And I think that's totally like a special effect for those kids, like, because he's the gamekeeper. He probably couldn't get in himself, but it's like this whole ceremony thing.
Playing up a really big entrance. Yeah.
And I think it's just fantastic how they do that for the first years. And this is their evening, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because again, as you were reading this as a kid, I mean, it's your first time kind of going here, and you're like, whoa, there's like boats. You really feel like one of the kids. You're with Harry, you're with his friends and stuff, and you're on the boats, and you're like, whoa, this is cool.
Yeah.
You know, this big giant's leading us in. He's friendly, and massive castle, and we've got torches on our boats. It's cool. Yeah.
And I think this whole journey to Hogwarts, I think they wanted to minimize like different magical ways of getting there, to don't get all this attraction by muggles. I'm not sure, but they I think when earlier on they used different means of transportation, but they ended up having this train, which a lot of pureblood families didn't really approve of. But this is now the way to get there. And we don't really know. Like we said, we don't really know what happens if you miss the train. But this is the traditional way to get there. And I think it's a cool thing, because this is always like bonding time they get before they even get to the castle. Like this is, for the first years, this is where you form your first friendships, or even like, you know, talk about your own fears and what's up with this house thing, and which houses are cool. And if you're already a student, you get to just chat with your friends and stuff. How was your summer? This whole like first introduction or catch up, or a couple of hours just before you get to the castle journey, I think is really, really cool.
Yeah. Just real quick, while you're talking about like the Hogwarts Express and everything, you think about the steam engine, and you think about when railroads were like built, like these locomotives, right? 1825. So again, we'll see it in the game, in the Hogwarts Legacy game. We'll see it. But prior to that, it's like, what was the traditional way to get there?
I think you just got there on your own, like by
port keys,
Hogsmeade, and then you
like you had to travel. The travel would be much further, take longer.
Yeah.
This is the Express. This is the Hogwarts Express.
Right.
So, anyway, cool to think about. All right, well that's it for the reread, right? I mean, that's it for
a great chapter.
Yeah,
I love getting ready. I know we're getting closer to Hogwarts. We're finally there, actually.
Yeah.
But this is just a cool build-up chapter too.
Yeah.
Where we are already in the wizarding world, but we're not there yet.
Yep.
All right, time for some wisdom, sweetie.
Yes. Wisdom.
I know we haven't really talked about it that much, but I think it's a great takeaway if you look closer into like Harry's first encounters with Malfoy and how he turned him down. And I thought it was a good advice, really. I know sometimes you're just trying to be nice to people and get to know them first, but Harry gets that vibe right away. Some things that Malfoy says, he's like, oh no, I'm totally out on that. So choosing the people you want to surround yourself with, like Harry, who immediately really liked Ron and turned down Malfoy, I think is a great advice. Because they really, they say some, like the people you surround and spend your time most with, they really form and shape your own life and personality and successes and your own mindset.
Yeah, they do.
So,
can I just say this? It's really great. I mean, you and I were just talking about this earlier this week.
Yeah.
Prior to even putting it in the chapter or whatever. Like it's fitting because honestly, I went through like quite a bit of my life where you stuck around with friends, or you kept people around that were really toxic, really negative, it was all about, I don't know, like, I know everybody has that friend or those friends or whatever, and maybe there's something missing for them or whatever. But at some point, if you can't bear it anymore, or if it's really, causing you physical stress, or it's causing you other mental stress, things like that, it is okay to move on.
Right.
And in the politest way, like, you do have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Like you really do. And one of the reasons we do this, we love doing the podcast just to kind of talk to each other. We enjoy each other's company, clearly, and we enjoy your company. You know what I mean? Like, don't forget that you are sitting there listening to the podcast, writing in, interacting. We're going to have another guest on next week, which is going to be pretty cool. And so that's fun. We want to interact with those types of people. For example, like our kind of our friend. We have a friend who is a lawyer, and I couldn't stop talking to her the other day, just about, and it was not about legal stuff. It was like, or even like things in the world or political. It was all about Harry Potter.
Yeah,
that was it. Nerdy stuff around town. What things that were cool and stuff. And so it's just really neat. And once you find those people, and you just really sort of they give something back to you, right? There's a good energy that comes your way. You give it energy to them, and it's just really reciprocated, and it feels good. Yeah. And that's, I think, what you want as much as possible. I do see a lot of kids at school, and it's just this time where you're trying to figure this out. It's why I think kids are, you got to protect kids. You got to look after your own kids. You got to, if you're out there and you are a Molly Weasley maybe, and you see another kid who's not yours, and they are going through something, help out, because it's a lot for kids to kind of navigate those friendships and relationships and people who it maybe once was good, right? Maybe that person who's your good friend gets sucked into another crowd, and that crowd is like turned that they're super negative, and maybe you're like, I'm trying to hold on to that, but like it's also okay to let it go and then come back to it later in life. Like,
sometimes we have to find out the hard way.
Yeah.
But that's how it is, and I think you always have to ask yourself, like, do those people lift you up? Are they good listeners? Do they motivate you, or are they the opposite? Do they try to keep you small, only want to talk about themselves and drain, like you all know some people who drain energy from you, and it's not the same for everyone. Like it's more like an energy match. If you feel like this is not a good match because someone's clearly draining energy from the other, and I'm not talking about like, if a friend is having a hard time pours out their hearts, then yes, like you listen, you help. But like in general, if you come back, if there's a pattern of negativity, and it's not really about the friendship, but more about, I don't know, this I don't even know. Yeah.
No, yeah, they're good. Those are good questions, I think, to ask yourself when you're kind of looking at your circle. And that's the other thing too, is you can have your inner circle that you're around 90% of the time, and then we're all going to go out in the world and face like bosses and coworkers and people we don't, that aren't vibing with us. And that's what you have to do. So that's a part of like kids learning that as well. Right. Is a good thing, and it's in this book. I mean, we see this, like Harry surrounding himself with certain people is important. Who he kind of picks. And also, there are kids in Slytherin too that like didn't hang out maybe with Draco.
Totally.
And the crazy thing is that like Draco wishes he had the friendship, that true friendship, so too. Right? Yeah. That Hermione and Harry and Ron have. Like a lot of people want that. And there is something going on inside of them, that there's something unresolved that they haven't figured out yet, or they can't like bring themselves to kind of, maybe it's pride, and they can't kind of bring themselves to say, hey, I just want to be like you guys and be friends. And I don't want to, I wish I had that or whatever, that's okay.
Yes. And I always like to advocate that Slytherins are like, I want Slytherin to be perceived as a cool house, because even in the Hogwarts mystery game now, your enemy or whatever is again a Slytherin. I'm like, yeah, they have certain character traits or values that might, where they're more, they are more concerned about themselves, but also they have very strong like groups that they are very exclusive, and that's why sometimes they're perceived from the outside they're all bad or all like mean or whatever. And no, this is not how it should be. And I really want Slytherin to be I'm a Ravenclaw, but like still like I love how all the houses are just different, and this is what it's supposed to teach them. Get along with each other and acknowledge each other's. Well, it's like again, our lawyer friend. It's sort of like, she's a Slytherin,
so positive and so cool and so fun and happy and just cool to be around or whatever. And I've like talked to her here and there and been around her a few times, but I'm just sort of like, wow, this is it's a different energy, and it feels good. But at the same time, there's that like, no, I want to get ahead in life. I want to do these things. I want to do this, and I have all these goals and yada, and whatever. I mean, you just connect more with that house for whatever reason. It's cool. I love it. So with that, all right, time to move into the old owl poster.
I was yep, I was getting ready for that. Okay. This phone is driving me crazy. This is supposed to be an owl sound.
Uh-huh.
Here we go. Not the traditional owl sound I had in mind, but hey, there's different kinds of owls, so okay. Our owl post, also a Slytherin, who is going to be our guest next Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to talk to her. She seems so nice, and she has some really good thoughts. And she wrote in and has a really cool question that I wanted to point out.
Mm-hmm.
So, hello, guys, listening to the EEE, the Hogwarts acceptance letter. I love this topic. When I was in college, my favorite part of any class was getting the syllabus, which I think is similar to the supply list in the Hogwarts letter. I loved knowing ahead what books would be needed and the supplies I would buy. I think most people would be so excited to get an acceptance letter and pack their bags immediately. Yes. Mm-hmm. Harry had a miserable life with nothing to lose. He knew he had something special about him, even if he did not understand it until Hagrid gave him the letter and explained all the special things Harry knew were inside him. But what if you loved your life and your family? Would you still go? What if you did not want to be away from your family for the whole school term? Would you go knowing it was a special opportunity?
Wow, we kind of mentioned, we talked a little bit about the idea that, you have to go live there, right? I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Angelina, thank you. This is cool.
Yeah.
To think about. Would you still go? Because it's tough for an 11-year-old to just say, I'm off and I've got to go be at school and I'm going to be away for this whole time. I mean, you come back for holidays and stuff, clearly, but...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially, so if you're a Muggle, you go to Muggle school already. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I went from elementary school to secondary school. Mm-hmm. There was no middle school, really.
Yeah.
And I was really into volleyball for a long time. Mm-hmm. I played volleyball. Love it. Still play it from time to time. And I was not really, that bad. And I was thinking about, I had some friends who were really into it, and some that went to a special school just for, I don't know what you call them here, if you even have them. Because
they're more like sports academies.
It's like a sports academy in Berlin. Yeah. And I was thinking about going there for volleyball because, that was a challenge. And I decided not to because of my friends. Yeah. I said I love my friends in my class, my school. They were really important to me. And those relationships, to give them up would be hard, I think. So, but sports academy is a little different. If someone sent me a letter at that time and said you could learn how to do magic, I would be like, sorry guys, I love you so much. Yeah. But you're right, this is a special opportunity. I would still have gone, yes.
Yeah, I think I would have gone too. I mean, just because it seems to be in the culture and everything. It's like, this is a, big deal. It's not just even the magic thing. It seems like even among witches and wizards, this was just, no, you do this thing because everyone goes to Hogwarts. It's just what we do. And in that area, I do like the idea though of, you brought up different options for different schools. Mm-hmm. Like if there were lesser like B schools, right? Let's say Hogwarts is the tippy top, the pinnacle of the surrounding area, but you didn't get in there. And so you got to go to like a next option, like a level B Hogwarts or something, like a lower tier, and there's maybe 3 of those schools, I'd go. I'd flat out go and be like, I'm going to be the best at this school. And those Hogwarts kids, you know what I mean? Like we're going to have wizard duels and maybe I represent my school. And I don't know, around here, that's like an option where kids can go to more of a private academy, local public school, different things like that. So it's just kind of interesting to think about. Yeah. So I like it.
Yeah. And I think it's all part of, growing up, letting your children go and pursue their dreams, really. And it's early. It's like, I know, 11, but except for the events that all happen around Harry's school years, it's a pretty safe place.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty safe. Except for all the attacks every year and professors dying and kids dying. It's crazy. But, yeah, it's pretty safe. So I want to mention, too, so Angelina said this, and I know everyone who, whether it's and even in high school, we give out a syllabus. So even if you went through high school or you're in college, but I remember going to college as well, and when I got the syllabus, I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
I see it. I now know what class I can skimp on. I know which class I got to focus on. Let me get the planner out. Let me get after it. Now, my first year was not that way. I was wading in there like, what's up? I can handle anything.
Yeah.
No. Sorry. So, I actually get that. The excitement of getting a syllabus and going, okay.
That structure is important.
Cool.
Yeah.
Not bad. 2 big papers and,
right. Yeah.
some readings. I can kind of zip through the readings and I know this topic pretty well. I can kind of,
Yeah, some were definitely worse than others, where it's like, okay, you have 700 books to read and 50 papers to write, and you also have a presentation, and...
and those made you sick. Those classes made you sick, and you're like, wow, do they not know I have all these other classes to do? This is a joke, right? These teachers talk, Yeah. All right, Angelina, thank you so much. That's really cool. Appreciate that. You guys can always send in, and just an owl. Send us in an email there to the Outpost at fleurandbill@gmail.com, and we'd love to read them on the show for sure. Anything, any thoughts on this chapter, chapters past, or chapters to come, we would love to do that.
Yeah.
So, well, friends, that's it, right, sweetie? I think we're good. Yeah, this week. Wow, let's go. All right, friends, that's all for this week. Thanks for tuning in to Shell Cottage Radio 94.7 COZY. We hope you'll join us in the future. We do thoroughly enjoy meeting new positive Potter people that don't behave like babbling, bumbling bands of baboons. If you don't want to miss the next episode, then be sure to subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, follow on social media at Fleur and Bill.
Next time, we're going to have another special guest on the show, our patron and bookstagrammer, Angelina Fiore. Together with her, we will discuss Chapter 7 of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, The Sorting Hat. So definitely don't miss out on next week's episode. Again, thanks for joining Blur's Book Club in their little shell cottage today. We know it's not much, but it's home.
Harry spends his last few weeks.
Bathroom!
Good job.